Susan Mills, Kim Dixon, Lisa High, and joining us at the table is Adam Miller from Heaven Hill Distillery. Hi, Adam.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you all for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, we are really excited. So you are our first guest in something we are calling Sherelle is not cooking for Thanksgiving. So one of the things about me is I have made Thanksgiving twice.
Okay.
And it was a nightmare experience. I stood up, I cooked for like 8 to 12 hours. Okay. I was exhausted, I was sleep deprived, and then people had the nerve to critique my food. And I said, I will never do this again. I said, I will only buy things. So all this week, we're gonna be highlighting businesses, food products, things like that, that people can get for Thanksgiving if they're like me and they've sworn off cooking. So one of the things that some folks just absolutely cannot do Thanksgiving without, because they cannot stand their relatives, is a little something, little libation. So, so you were with Heaven Hill Distillery. Tell us about the distillery.
Yes, so Heaven Hill, we've been around since 1935. So one of the legacy brands here in Kentucky. Been making bourbon down in Bardstown in Louisville for quite some time. But very much family-owned company. We've made all our own juice. We don't really source anything, so that's a positive in the industry. And you know, we always focus on kind of the bars and restaurants and our partners in the off-premise and just providing a good quality product for affordability.
Yeah.
So, which this day and age is bourbon can be expensive, so we always like to offer something that people can find and it's also really good. So.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So you've been making it since 1935.
Correct.
You make your own juice.
Yes.
As you said. So
yes.
What else makes your product so special?
Well, being here in Kentucky is one. You know, the unique climate, you know, when bourbon goes into the barrel, it's clear. As it ages, it picks up this this beautiful amber color that you're seeing in the bottles. But going back to the climate, so it gets cold and hot. You know, we all know Kentucky's weather, it changes daily. But that really has a big effect on the spirit going in and out of the wood. And it gives it a lot of those flavors and the color you're seeing.
I mean, everything about Kentucky makes a difference. Our climate, everything, all of those things you just described.
So let's do a little pour.
Of course.
You have something for us here. So which one are we tasting today?
We are going to taste Elijah Craig Small Batch, which is one of our one of our main flagship brands. It's also the official bourbon of the PGA Tour. So
there we go.
It's coming to Valhalla, the PGA Championship in May. And Elijah Craig will be out there.
So tell us what we're smelling, what we're tasting, what it's made out of. We want to know everything.
Yeah, so the mash bill on these two, it's actually, I brought these two specifically, they have the same mash bill, which means the grains, basically the recipe that goes into it. It's 78% corn. That'll add a lot of the sweetness to it. It has 10% rye in it, which adds a little bit of the spice.
That rye.
Yep, it
love
brings
rye.
a nice,
Spicy.
well-balanced. And then 12% malted barley, which is used in a lot of the fermentation, basically to help round out everything. So.
Fantastic. Okay, so you mentioned that Thanksgiving is coming up.
Yes.
What products would you recommend that people pick up before the holiday?
Well, these two in front of you, I would definitely recommend. This one on the right, the Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond, that's a 7-year and it's 100 proof. Whoa. So it's a little bit, it has to, there's some unique regulations with quality standards with the Bottled in Bond. So we meet all of those, that's one expression. And then of course the Elijah Craig, you know, if you're looking for a nice old fashioned or, you know, it's a little cold and you need the Kentucky hug, which is what they call it.
I love it.
You can go for the Elijah Craig Small Batch and it's found pretty much everywhere.
Yes.
So both of these can be found anywhere.
So when you say bottled in bond, what does that mean?
It's basically a quality standard. So it has to be 100 proof. It has to be aged for at least 4 years. It has to be distilled by one distillery and shown on the label, which is right there on the front. And where it's distilled and bottled. And it has to be a product of one distillation season, so either spring or fall. And
I think I knew that.
And then it has to be aged in a government bonded warehouse. So basically the Bottled in Bond Act back in the late 1800s guaranteed quality, and it's a pillar of our portfolio. So we like to showcase it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as far as cocktails, what is your favorite cocktail mixing with these?
It's hard to go wrong with an old fashioned with Elijah Craig.
Right.
We had Old Fashioned Week a few weeks ago. It's a big national incentive that Elijah Craig does.
Yeah.
We like to partner with our on-premise folks and bars and restaurants. And yeah, a good old fashioned with Elijah Craig small batch.
That's your call.
Little simple
That's your
syrup,
pick.
little bitters. You can muddle the orange and cherry in there if you want. Will not go wrong at your party with that.
For me, it's extra cherries. Like, put a bunch in there. That makes it really good. So you keep saying on premise. Tell us about that. Do you have something special there at the facility?
No. On premise means the bars and restaurants where you ingest.
Oh,
the
okay.
spirit. Off premise means where you buy it at like your liquor bar and your
Got
town
it.
bar and
Okay.
take it home with you.
See, you're having to teach us your ways.
Sorry.
No apologies. Well, I had never had this before. One thing we love on this show is something that's a little spicy.
It is spicy.
It's a little spicy.
Love it. It's so good.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for dropping by and telling us about this bourbon and kind of getting the week started. Remember, if you're going to have alcohol for your Thanksgiving, drink responsibly. What are we saying? A 2-drink maximum. 'Cause after
Some
that,
families, one.
yeah.
And not in a glass this big.
Yeah. Because after that, your family's going to start talking crazy. So, all right? Okay.